Hey, hello everyone. So I'm here with my mentor, Lisa, and she has some feedback for me after watching my first lesson that was recorded in my grade 3 class. So first, I'm just going to start by giving some things that I noticed. This was actually the first time I've ever recorded one of my lessons. And I found it fascinating that I watched it afterwards, the entire thing twice to see how much was going on that I didn't realize. And I think that I have a pretty good idea of what's going on when I'm actually doing the teaching up in the front and when I've got the whole class's attention. But then when I have to focus on certain kids that need help or answering questions or whatever, and as soon as I turn my back, and it's not always bad, some of it's really good stuff that I see the kids are working together, they're collaborating. And then I also see some mischief that I didn't know about. So I found that really interesting and enlightening. And so, yeah, this is Lisa. Let me know, what did you think so far?
Sure. So I think that's a really good reflection. So first of all, I thought it was a really strong lesson for so many reasons, right? You had some great parts to it. It was really engaging. It was, you had a clear objective. Them creating the dance party moves. Obviously, they were very excited about it, right? And so the content, it was age appropriate for them. It was something that engaged them. So I think there were some really strong things as well. But it's interesting that you mentioned about the behavior, because that's one thing that I was going to bring to the table as well, in terms of like, it is a really interesting reflection when you can see from that angle as well,
Yeah.
because that's the opposite angle from what you see,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so what are some things, what I wanted to talk about was like, what are some things that you could, have you reflected about some changes that you might make in order to really hone in on those behaviors?
I have. So one of the things that I found super interesting, I did tell the kids that the lesson was being recorded, is the boys who picked those back seats and who were, I think, the furthest from me up in the front, but yet the most visible to the camera as far as what they were doing and things they should have and things they shouldn't have. And so I do like the flexibility of the students being able to select their own seats in my room. But I think with certain ones, I think I might need to try and separate those out a little bit. And I'm going to have to think about how to do it if I actually need to do assigned seating for everyone in the whole room, or if I can get away with just saying, okay, these couple of students have to be at different tables. So I'm going to think about that a little bit before the next lesson.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's a
yeah.
great option. I think
Yeah.
for sure you can go with a seating plan if need be, if it becomes like the large majority of your classroom that are needing different placing, right?
Mm-hmm,
And it's becoming continually disruptive.
mm-hmm.
Or you can do like a three strike system or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you a warning if I'm going to maybe remind you again. If I warn you again, you move.
Yeah.
Right. There was a seat right up the front, and I noticed Omar was the one that was like continually that behavior.
Yes.
And I think once you tweak the behavior of one, the rest will fall into line because they know that's not the expectation.
Yes.
So maybe just immediately giving them a couple of reminders. If not,
Yeah.
your behavior is not changing, you're going to come sit right up the front with me, away from your friends, because you've lost that privilege.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Yeah.
maybe even
Yeah.
like preempting
Yeah.
that, having a conversation with him if you know that's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's nice. I think it's nice that you let them choose and you let them have choice. But again, that choice is a privilege for them. They need to
Mhm.
come and be respectful of that choice as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That exact strategy you just mentioned, I have used and do use in the past. And I think with this particular lesson, I was so hyper tuned in on by the fact that I knew I was being recorded,
For
that
sure.
focusing on the content and the students and everything that I was supposed to be thinking about, that actually that didn't cross my mind until afterwards. Whereas
of course,
if I think I was more relaxed and I knew it wasn't being recorded, I probably would have more easily switched into that, even
For
though it would have been
sure.
more disruptive. Yeah.
For sure,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Another thing you can think of is like, through the responsive classroom, we talk about interactive modeling quite a lot, right? And
Mhm.
so there's nothing wrong with at the beginning of your lesson, if you know it's a class that has their challenges, when you say, what are the expectations, like you said about that, right?
Mhm.
But then getting them to like have a quick turn and talk or something about what are three expectations or what are three goals for your behavior today, really? And then
Mhm.
like taking a little bit more time to go through that. Or even, the interactive modeling. Can someone show me what can someone show me what their body should be doing while you're listening to my instructions to make sure that you get everything so you know what to do for the lesson, right?
Mhm,
Who
mhm.
can I see like that showing me that they're ready with their body, where their iPad should be, and really kind of taking a moment, like taking a few moments maybe to really hone in on that as well,
Yeah,
instead
Yeah.
of like quickly covering it, right?
right.
I think if it's that's always a good thing to do, is like really go back to kind of those structures if it is a class that really needs that as well,
Mhm, mhm.
so then you can go forward.
Yeah, it's unreal how addicted I think some of these kids are to their iPads. And
Yeah,
when and they make a choice and I remind them, okay, you need to have it closed. And I'm really asking for them to have it closed for like 7 or 8 minutes or whatever during the mini lesson. And some of them, I can feel the jitters, like they know it's there. And in some cases, especially with the younger kids, like grade ones, I actually have to take, certain ones. And I know you probably know exactly which students I mean. I have to put them on my desk and I have to say, okay, these are going to be here for a few minutes until it's actually time to use them.
for sure.
And
for
like you said, I
sure.
like to treat them, as mature as I can and make sure that they have that option because, we have to make sure to educate them in such a way, but some of them just need that physical thing to be removed so that they aren't distracted.
Yeah, 100%. I see it
Yeah.
also like in kids in music as well, when you're
Mhm.
handing out an instrument.
Yeah.
Same thing, right? A lot
Yeah.
of them are doing
They
it
want to
without even
play, they
thinking
want
about
to,
it.
yeah,
It's such a habit.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you can even go, if it is becoming a bigger problem, you can even go to the extent of walk in, put your iPads here,
iPads all
everybody
on the
put your
table.
iPads
Yeah.
like on a different table at the front, right?
Yeah.
Everybody put your iPads here. We're going to sit and have a discussion first, right? And then we're going to get
Go
our
back and
iPads
get them.
afterwards.
Yeah, yeah.
That might work as well.
And it's too bad to do all that just for really one or two that are the
Mhm.
ones that are, having that difficulty. But yeah, you're right, that
Mhm.
could help.
Or
Yeah.
maybe just those
Yeah.
one or two then
Yeah.
need to do that, right?
Yeah.
And then that's a conversation. If you're like noticing it as repeated behavior during class,
Yeah.
those one or two, just say, look, I notice that you're really struggling to not let this, and this is really affecting the way that you're learning, because you're
Mhm.
really not focusing on what I'm saying and what I'm teaching, right?
Mhm.
And then you're not knowing what to do. So in order to solve that, and you can put it back on them, what are some things that we can do so it won't become a distraction for you? And then
Okay.
ideally, maybe it will come from them that they'll be like, oh, maybe I could put it over here. Great.
Yeah.
And then you can
Yeah.
take it afterwards,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. A few of them actually already make that choice when they come in my room. They know already, especially grade one, because they don't have it all day. They know they set it somewhere else because they know they can't, but that's after 6 months of,
Yeah.
me kind of doing that already for them. They're like, oh yeah, I probably can't pay attention. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for
Ferris in
sure.
grade one, he already does that. He knows that he can't pay
Yeah.
attention and he
Yeah.
puts it
And
somewhere
that's
else.
great.
And it's great that he knows that,
Yeah.
because otherwise, he'd be there playing after about, 90 seconds of listening.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's the language you use, because if you identified them as the learner and put them in the driving seat of that, right? So you as a learner, you need to develop skills that will help you to learn in the best capacity,
Mhm.
right? Maybe not using that language, but do you know what I mean? Like more
Yes.
child-friendly language. What are some things that are going to make this the best possible learning environment for you? What choices do you need to make yourself? Because everybody's a different learner, right? And so like just having that sort of dialogue with those kiddos as well, I think separately can be powerful,
All right.
right?
Good. Well, any other major points to cover? Or are we? In
No,
good
I
shape
just
for
had
today?
one, I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was great. I had two like just quick suggestions. I
Okay.
think what you did is just to try different things. I think you did a good job. One thing with the objective that you might try is that when you say, okay, so here's our objective for today, do a quick turn and talk and say, what are some things that we already know about the objective? What might be some new things?
Okay.
Discuss it at your table. And it's just a really good, then they have to read it, connect with it, right? And it's a really good kind of chance for them to dialogue a little bit about what and bring their prior knowledge to that, right? And then really engage with that objective as well.
Okay.
And then you can do like a quick share out. Oh, and because you keyed on the terms,
Yeah.
right? Which was
exactly.
great within that, but then
Yeah.
it comes from them, right? So then it's like, oh, okay, I noticed that it says about an event. We already learned about an event last time, right?
Mhm.
That's something that's like repeat learning. It's not new learning, but then it talks about, I don't know, another feature, right? Like a loop or something. And say you hadn't learned about a loop. The loop is new learning. I don't know what that means, right? So I guess we're going to learn about that today.
Mhm.
And again, it's that dialogue and that conversation from them.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your feedback, Lisa, and you'll be
Most
hearing more from Lisa in the coming weeks, and myself, of course, as well. So bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.